There are different kinds of science fiction. There's science fiction that's about robots and spaceships, and that's not what this is. This is about a sociological science fiction that says, what if the ground rules changed? What if the rules of our existence changed? And now what that gives us the opportunity to do is to recreate the kind of the gangsters and the corrupt society and the average person being kind of an underdog who's in need of a hero. I mean, we always feel like we're in need of heroes, but I think that this ups the stakes. So we've created a hero to fill this vacuum, this need, and she's the Dark Angel. She's the avenging angel of the story. The character's name is Max.
Well, one of the things that we did in conceptualizing this, you know, when Jim first, we were first talking about this, and he said, you know, let's talk about a sci-fi show. And I was sort of allergic to the notion because I'm not learned in science fiction. I haven't read it. I'm not a student of it the way he is. And he said, but you see, that's perfect. That's what's wonderful about it, because what you do is you write about people.
It's futuristic. It takes place 20 years in the future. But it's a future that probably resembles the Great American Depression of the 30s more than what you might anticipate a kind of high-tech future to be. We're saying that there's an event that causes a complete economic collapse, and America's sort of back into a depression.
Really, a sort of a model for what this future looks like is Havana today. I mean, essentially after the revolution in 1959, technology and society just stopped. It just froze in its tracks. I mean, if you look at Buena Vista Social Club, you can see a Havana that really existed 50 years ago, but it's the narrative present of the movie. And what we're able to do here by sort of adopting this conceit for our show is use the technological present as 25 years in the future. Imagine if technology just stopped where it is right now.
Well, Max is special in a lot of ways. She's special because she's played by a very special girl, Jessica Alba. I think you've interviewed her. We think she's a really spectacular new talent. And she's special as a character because she's the product of a genetic engineering experiment. So Max is short for maximum. She's the maximum girl. She's kind of a revved up version of us. She's not a cyborg. She's not a machine. She's kind of the nth degree of human potential distilled down. You know, the fact that our main character is genetically engineered, that's not something that could take place in present day, considering that she's an adult. It's an experiment that has begun in our present day, and we all know, you know, with the various advances in cloning and genetic engineering that exists now, that such a thing is maybe either possible now or just around the corner, certainly not very far off. But for a main character who's a young adult, you know, she's supposed to be 19 years old in our story, it can't happen now. It has to happen 20 years from now. When we found Jessica, we knew we had found the best actor of anyone that we had looked at. So then it was like, okay, kid, you got 6 months to get in shape.
And she's been working hard.
She has been working so hard, and it really shows. I mean, she just has a real physicality that she didn't have when she first came to us. But it seemed to me that since, you know, it's all based on the heart, on the emotions, and very much on her interior landscape, that we had to find the actor. You know, we had to find the best actor.
We also, as writers, had a wonderful opportunity that's not usually afforded us, because we found Jessica actually before we'd written the script. So that with Jessica in tow and with Jessica training and getting to know her, the character of Max on the page really resembles the wonderful person that we've gotten in front of the camera. Well, we have a wonderful actress, and I think this is a person, Jessica is extraordinary, and I think people are going to tune in this show. They're going to see her. Girls are going to want to be her. Guys are going to want to be with her. She's just there's something wonderfully inveigling about her. I mean, she just draws you in. And
I think we have a good chemistry. I think we have a good chemistry between the actors. I think we have a good chemistry between the elements. And it's a unique chemistry. Nobody else is doing anything quite like this. Our guy Logan, you know, he tells the truth. Now he's smart enough to do it anonymously. He hacks into cable feeds, and he does cable hacks that are seen, you know, regionally, possibly nationally, where he pops in for 60 seconds and he tells you what's really going on. And he does it with this kind of pixelated way of hiding his face. And he says, "Here's the straight scoop, folks. This is what's really going on. You can't trust these people, this, and this." And so he's a truth teller in a time when nobody's telling the truth. And so they want him. They want to take him out. You know, he's making an awful lot of enemies. We're pulling out all the stops that we can to do wire work. There's a lot of high stuff on buildings because Max is a thief. And with her skills, with her ability to physically access places that you and I couldn't, she's she's always climbing around some skyscraper, dropping down, rappelling down the face of some high rise. And so, we've had to recreate that. And I think the stunt guys have been doing a spectacular job. So in a way, while working in television, one might be envious of the greater resources of a feature film. On the other hand, as a writer, having worked in features, I'm envious of the opportunity to have a more novelistic canvas to paint on. So.
There's a scope and a scale to this pilot that's unlike anything I've worked on in television. And there will be, certainly on a weekly basis, you will see a physicality and a scope of action that's uncommon for television. But the heart of TV, where it really lives and breathes, is right in here, and it's in the characters and it's in the relationships, and that's where we're putting our energies.
My character's name is Max Guevara. She's confident, she's a smartass, she's honest, she's real, she's very comfortable with herself, like in an unusual way. She doesn't feel the need to put on a facade for anyone. And the only kind of mask that she ever puts up, it's to defend herself and not expose her heart and the secret she has that she can't tell anyone. But it kills her because she wants to. She's made up of like 25 different people, sort of the genetics of the best, the smartest in every subject, the person who can withstand the most extreme temperatures. In every aspect, wherever somebody excels, she's sort of made up of the best. And they made this whole breed of children that are made up of these people. Plus she has part feline in her as well. So she can see farther and she can see at night. She can hear things, and her senses are heightened as well. She kind of knows what's going on before it happens. Well, I did 11 months of training. 3 hours of weight training, and it was like cardio, and then we do like weight training 5 days a week with this man named Tony Cortez, who is amazing. I didn't think I could ever get to where I'm at without him. And I did gymnastics, 3 times a week, an hour and a half a day, and motorcycle training. And I did some kung fu. I went through like 3 different kung fu dudes to try and teach me how to break it down. She's a bike messenger during the day at a place called Jam Pony, and that's kind of where she just chills and she's herself, and she doesn't worry about, is this person going to do this or that, or wondering if someone's kind of weird or works for the government. She just kind of like hangs with her friends and lives as normal of a life as she can, She was making a delivery, and her night job is actually a cat burglar, because she needs to get money to go pay an investigator to sort of find her roots. She wants to find the other kids, She needs a connection. She has that craving for some kind of family. So it sort of drives her every day. She kind of sees the world from a different perspective. She kind of pulls herself away from every situation and kind of looks at everything in third person versus her being involved in it and in the drama of life. She's always kind of looking from afar and kind of seeing the big picture. And I'm sure there's people who do that at times, but she does it all the time. They have this thing, that chemistry, like you can't choose who you love, you can't choose who you're attracted to. It's like an undeniable thing, and she just has that with him. And I think he's the only person who kind of challenges her as well, intellectually, and he also lives sort of an underground life. He can't really have friends and have a family and have these things either, because if he's found out about, the government will kill him as well. So they both know this sort of secret about each other, and they're the only ones that know that.
Well, my character is a guy named Logan Kale, who is not the simplest guy to explain, really. I mean, he lives this kind of secluded monastic life of of the underground rebel. I mean, obviously, the show takes place in the not too distant future. And one of the conceits of this future world is that that the media is controlled by the government, and that there is really only one source of news and entertainment and everything else. And that's a result of this terrorist activity that had taken place that knocked out all the satellite communications, and computer data was wiped out. And so the government stepped in and imposed this kind of martial law order over everything. Because there's curfews, and you're getting your information from one source. There's no way to check that against anything else. There's no voice of opposition, and so Logan takes it upon himself to be that guy, and has a bulletin called Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin that hacks into the nightly news. Well, Max breaks into his apartment because he's independently wealthy and has lots of nice little baubles around his place, and she had spotted it during an earlier delivery run. She's a bike messenger, and so she breaks in to steal some stuff, and he's in the middle of doing one of his, rebel cable hacks, and she realizes who he is by virtue of the whole setup, and recognizes that he's the eyes only character, and he in turn comes to realize that she is this this kind of creature that's been created by the government. I think Max obviously is someone that has the same kind of dilemma, where she feels like an outsider, and she's running away from being a cause. She just wants to be apathetic and like, it's not my problem, and everything is Logan's problem and nothing is Max's problem. She has all these great skills, but she's just a thief. She uses her, to just steal and survive. And that's fascinating to me, the combination of these two characters coming together. They're so opposite, and yet they complement each other and suit each other so well. I think Jim Cameron has proven that he's very good at creating imaginary worlds or real worlds. The task that's been undertaken by everyone here is massive, but that's not unfamiliar terrain to Cameron.
He's looking for a bunch of young kids, one in particular, who may hold the future of our country in their hands. It's now somewhere where he's trying to find out how to get back in control of those individuals' little miracles that may have really either gone wrong or may have tremendous potential for contribution to this world. They don't know how powerful they are.